be standing right here.
Where do you want me to look?
Look at me. Well, you
Okay.
look at me. So I just want you to, obviously, like everything else, state who you are, what your title is, or whatever it might be, and kind of how you got involved with Coalition to End Homelessness, and how you're able to utilize what you are with the community to bring those two together.
So my name is Lidia Velez Herrera. I am the executive director and founder of Lili Sin Barreras. And this has been an amazing collaboration with the Connecticut Coalition to End Homelessness and other partners from the city to local agencies. And I would be remiss if I didn't say the name Aura Alvarado, because that would be wrong from CREC. And it's been a collaboration that happened organically. I was cooking for my brothers and sisters just because it just happened, like we all do in the Latino community. And my agency helps people navigate the social and legal system, which means you present a barrier and I try to remove it for you. And so then after that, I worked very closely with the city, very closely, and Mayor Bronin's office and so on and so forth. And we were at the end. We had no funding. People were being evicted. People were becoming literally homeless. And I get this phone call from Liani Arroyo at the city of Hartford. And she says, Lily, are you driving? And I said, yes. And I pulled to the side. She's like, there's some folks who want to speak to you. There's Dr. Joe at the Connecticut Coalition to End Homelessness. And I was like, to be honest with you, I was like, who? Not the agency, but the person. And so there was an instant email. I was already speaking to them, I think, like week after that. And they made sure the project was very seamless. They were like, okay, so we have this funding. We want to get it to the families. How can we? And began a conversation with me. I did an MOU. I said, you understand I'm a one-woman show? They were like, absolutely. And the magic from there began. People now have apartments. They were able to pay for their first month, second month rent. They understood the uniquenesses of people having part-times or having full-times and getting whatever work they could get. And they worked really, really closely with me to ensure that we can serve, from people being able to fix their cars within winter suffered a lot because we were not able to purchase brand new cars, from people helping to repair their credit because if not they couldn't get an apartment, furniture. They allowed me to build a collaboration with a local furniture store at Discount Furniture, and people got quality stuff, which was very, very exciting. Not to feel like another charity case, but to feel that you were being treated with dignity and respect. We spoke on a daily basis. They made sure that I had a way to file, these applications and get all the information as quickly as possible. They made sure that we talked to the press, to Connecticut in Vivo, and they took it on from there. And they did everything they could do to hit the ground and worked really hard with me. So it's been a success.
Talk to me about why that's important, that, and explain to me the uniqueness of Connecticut and why this is so unique to this state, and really why there's no other thing like this, because of the Latino community here being mainly Puerto Rican. But speak to me about the uniqueness of it and why it's important that you guys help the evacuees from Puerto Rico.
Well, I think because so many of us are Boricuas, are Puerto Ricanos here, and we have a great, great community here. It hit home for so many of us because, for example, I have my mother there. I have my paternal family is there. I have my brother who's there. So for many of us, it was instantly personal. Not only was the human component to it, that you were like, oh my God, a hurricane hit a country. It was, oh my God, I can't find my family. Oh my God, are mine alive? So that was instantly we all reacted, and I mean everybody in their own way. So the uniqueness of that is that there's such a big concentration of Puerto Ricanos here. So we all are calling each other and trying to figure out, I know your family's there, and so on and so forth. So that started mobilizing a community. And then from there, quickly we learned from a sister that there were families staying at the Red Roof Inn. and there was not a warm meal. So it started from there. So we all started getting together, and donations came through for that. But it had not been for this funding, we would really be looking at a different situation, and we need so much more help. I mean, we know that the state of Connecticut is an expensive state. So that would, not be a surprise to anybody who knows Connecticut. And so families were not, able to find apartments of $500, $600, and these are flat. So it means they have no utilities, they have none of that. So we had to work with entities who understood that uniqueness and respond pretty quickly. So here at the St. Anthony St. Patrick Church, through their ministry for families, they were so kind and continue to be so kind, established quickly a yes. That's how it was, a yes, we have rooms, you guys are welcome to use it. So that was very unique to that component. The coalition makes sure they understood quickly that it meant that people were actually physically here, and we had 60, 90 days to move people out because they have new projects coming in. And the city worked with us, and the coalition worked with us, and other partners, and you already met families who have apartments, who are extremely grateful, but our people are proud. So having to come to the doors and saying, I'm going to get evicted. I've done everything I can do, and I can't find a job, or I can only work 6 hours or 4 hours, or I have children who are disabled, and and how do I get services, and so on and so forth. So this allowed us to make sure we protected people housing-wise, and make sure it gave us time to go out there into the communities and say, we need your help, and people responded. To us, it continues to be like a shock that we were able to work with an entity seamless, no trouble whatsoever, no bumps in the road, none of that. And if we confronted anything, we could place a phone call to them, or they would write us an email, and the response is, I love to snap my fingers, but the response was that quick.
And just so I understand, so what is here? Was this for people in lieu of them getting an apartment, or if they're being evicted? Like, explain to me again what exactly, just real quickly, like what this was here.
Well, the ministry here at the St. Patrick St. Anthony was, what do you guys need? And we'll figure it out. So they have rooms, and so it was a convent. So these are very nice rooms, and they have bathrooms of their own and a shared kitchen. So this was, okay, we need to put people somewhere. And then it became, okay, people have moved out, and now we need to move other people in because they're being evicted. So it became this hospitality. There were people who had nothing to do with the interaction here, and found out that we had been able to host other brothers and sisters, and would say, I don't have a place to stay with my kids, would you guys help me? And so immediately, this Franciscan order said, we have to figure it out, and figuring it out was that basically people were housed.
And so one of the last things I want to talk about is, talk to me about that, when I talked to Richard, one of the things that he said was obviously that, they knew this was an issue, but they weren't getting a lot of calls through their community, to the 211 stuff and everything. So I want to hit on the fact that there is a distrust with maybe the community with the government, and I want to kind of just speak to me on that, whether or not relating to Puerto Rico, what's going on there, or just a general like not trusting. So they needed someone like you, basically why you're important in this, because you needed to help mediate between the families and the organization that was providing the funding.
Well, I think the hurricane taught us a lot, right? So if you look at the political climate, and I speak for myself, not for anybody else, for me and my entity, it was distrusting of what happened with the funding. People didn't get food, and we didn't get water. Our houses just left like Barbie doll houses. So already people came with, nobody's going to talk to us. They left us alone. I mean, what's going to happen? So there was already this feeling of we've been abandoned. And to go to a different place where you don't speak the language, you're an American citizen, but you don't speak the language, you don't understand what's going to happen, so you're going to wing it in the hopes that God is going to cover you. And in my belief, I think that's what happened. So you come with all that wounds, woundology, as I like to call it, and you come here and you don't understand the system. You don't get it. Why am I calling this place? This place said there's no funding, and technically that was the answer. There is no money. but there was money allocated to certain agencies. But they themselves were going, why can't we, we're the people, we have these services. So they needed other entities to get involved. I got involved, A, it's home, and B is what I do for a living. My job is to remove barriers. So one person calling, one meal served, I was able to use my other resources and say, okay, we need to work together. What we build quickly, because I'm the face that they see, is that identity of you speak our language, we understand what you're talking about. I can break it down as the ABC component. We're going to go here, we're going to do that. But really, it was all the compassion of other folks. It was the willingness of people to trust me. It was the tears we cried together. We cried a lot of tears together. It was the kids who were looking at you like you're going to help us, right? And you go home and pray that you didn't lie because you said yes. And so I think the importance of that was to have someone who you could identify with. Yeah, there was a lot of distrust. Those wounds were open and they continued. I mean, there was the lack of services. There were, no documents, so you could file for public services. We met with DSS. Councilwoman Dalis Bermudez. She opened so many doors. It was just unbelievable. And we have a city that responded. The city of Hartford responded. We had, Blumenthal, Senator Blumenthal and Joe Rodriguez, who were like, we get it. It's just there. We're going to do it. We had Mayor Bronin, who was like, this is not a question. These are my residents. Within all of that, the coalition was like, okay, we need to get to the community. How do we do that? And so I got a phone call and I was like, oh God, you called the wrong person. Because I'm going to knock on doors, and all I had to do was call other brothers and sisters. And so.
Okay. Anything else you want to add then for this, or think I'm missing for the story?
I think the need is greater than what people can imagine. I think that if I could tell anybody, think about where you're going to invest your dollars. Start looking at the Coalition to End Homelessness, because it's not only about our brothers and sisters who are literally in the street. You want to stop that. You want to avoid that. And my experience with them has been that's what they want to do. And so I've lived it, I've seen it, I'm very passionate about it, but